Everyone. All right, so this is episode 408. We're going to get the official podcast going here in a minute. Thank you to the chat room for pointing out that my OBS was not capturing my microphone. This is the second time it's happened to me now in about 2 or 3 weeks ago was the last time it happened. Weird. For some reason, it's not recognizing my microphone, even though every other time it does. So I'm not sure why it's not. I did update it. Maybe that's maybe this particular update is a little buggy for at least for my particular microphone or something. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but thank you. And yeah, I think we're about ready to get going. We're gonna take it from the top. I'm gonna start it from the top here again.
Take two.
We're gonna hear more about Kitty, or at least some of us will, or however you want to phrase it.
It could have been worse. It could have been like an hour into it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Audacity would have been fine, but it would have been a really weird chat room if like they would have been screaming after a while. Be like, like, why are you still going? This is insane. All right, going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. The human inside was the final weakness to be solved. Boy, that was true as it turned out. This is episode 408, being recorded on Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. I'm your host, Chill. With me is my co-host, KittyKissz. Hey, Kitty.
Hello, Chill.
Hey, and we're hoping to have Doc back again next show, but today it's just the two of us, so let us know what you've been up to, Kitty.
Okay, so maybe you guys have heard about this, but I lost power for almost 2 days.
Yes, right. Yeah, there was a huge snowstorm throughout a lot of the country. We did get it here as well. Kitty and I live reasonably close to each other, and as it turned out, I didn't get any power loss, but you did, Kitty. How for 2 days? You say?
Almost 2 days,
Ugh.
A little bit under, and what sucked is some of my neighbors had power, and I could see that. And if I went a block up one direction, power.
Right.
But then as I moved up the numbers, there was no power. Like the street lights were working over there, and then just turn and look, and the street it's completely dark.
Oh man.
And where I live, out my bedroom window, I can see the West Hills, and half of the West Hills had lights, and the other half didn't.
Oh.
And so every when I'd wake up, it's dark in the morning, and I'd look out the window to see if the lights were back on the West Hills. Hopefully, that we'd have power back.
Right.
But I have a new appreciation for having power.
Yeah.
Like the novelty of having power it still hasn't worn off. I'm still just every day when I wake up and the lights are on, I just go, that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
And, I listened. I got a lot of stuff done around the house because
nice. Yeah.
I have this whenever something bad happens, or I try to do something productive. Okay. So when that bad thing is over, I'm like, okay, well, at least I got some crap done. So I got tons of stuff done around the house, a bunch of cable management, which is so great. And then I got the snakeskin stuff. So it's just like one big wire, it looks like,
nice,
out of a bunch of different places. And it's just, I love it. I look at it and I just go,
did it get very cold inside your place, or did you have some sort of heat? It
got cold as hell. And so
how did Nexu handle it then?
He's fine. He was like, it's like nothing happened. He's just like, and so I had luckily I'd recently purchased a down comforter. So I just slept with a hat on and under the down comforter, and I was nice and toasty. But getting up when it's cold out and you're nice and snuggly sucks. I slept in every day. I'm just like, I don't want to get up. But luckily I have a gas range, so we could cook and all that stuff.
Right.
So didn't go hungry.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't have any frozen pipes or anything like that. It really wasn't that cold.
No. Luckily the pipes in my house run, they're they're exposed, so they get some of the heat that the furnace sets off.
Okay, good.
Luckily.
Nice.
But another thing that I got done was I finished the Light of the Jedi audiobook.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Okay,
I thought
cool.
it was really, really good. And as you know, as the story was progressing, like the second half of the story, I'm just like, I can't wait to hear more. So I just did stuff around the house and listened to audiobooks until my phone got low on batteries, and I was like, uh-oh.
Right, what am I going to do now? Yeah.
What's going to happen? And then I remembered, oh, wait, I have a laptop. So I turned the laptop on and charged my phone.
Charged it off the laptop? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have a laptop. I'm going to watch Rogue One. So anyway, that was good. So I finished the Light of the Jedi and I started Into the Darkness, whatever it's the next novel in line in that new series.
Excellent.
And I'm loving it.
Are they doing it with different authors for each book, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This the one that I just started is by Claudia Gray, and I know that she's done several of the Star Wars novels, and it's good. Like Light of the Jedi started off a little slow.
There's a lot of setup to do, I'm sure.
A lot of character introductions.
Yeah, because the characters, and then this is an entire different period of history that we haven't really seen anything of before, so it makes sense. Yeah.
But I was almost put off by how slow it was, but once it gets going, it's great. It's really, really good. And but Into the Dark is awesome. I can't wait. Like, I know I'm going to be listening to it tomorrow at work, and I'm like, I can't wait to go to work.
Nice.
I'll listen to it, but it's good. I've also been doing the stream, and I've been playing my big boy Sentinel, and loving it. I just got to Belsavas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, and you're still doing all the side stuff, so he's really high level?
Oh yeah. He's been 71 for quite a while, but it's fun. It's I every time I play Sentinel or Marauder, I just kind of go, this is the one for me. I love it. And I've been adding new things to my my Naga, my left-handed Razor Naga.
Nice.
So as soon as I get comfortable with my rotation and where I have things hotkeyed, it gets switched. So I'm keeping myself on my toes. But that's about it for me. Okay.
All right, then. Let's see who's in the chat room today. I've got a pretty good amount of folks here already. So 24 is here. Alto, Bantha Mojito, Bing Cortana, Bodhi, Bo Froley, Dekion's here, as well as Fiona. Evan04111, Fatapair, I'm guessing at the pronunciation of that one, Gumshoe3, I Am Straz, Ice Wizards, Kenny Power 5, Lone Wolf is here, Marcus is here, hey Marcus, Mercy Pulse, Shira's Bloopers, Sludgester, and that Duck Sauce. So hey everyone, how's it going? Let's see, so what I've been up to in the game, did some dual leveling with Lord Meltza. This is he's on a bounty hunter, I'm on a sniper, and it's a cosplay based on Winter Soldier. We were able to do several runs since the last show. We're on the start of Act 2 for these characters. Both of them are in the mid-40s. We're a little ahead of schedule, level-wise, because we're doing the story, plus we're doing whatever Flashpoint comes along. And on kind of veteran mode. It's like reasonably difficult sometimes on the Flashpoints, but it's actually been pretty fun. Mandalorian Raiders, for example, has had a couple of pretty tough fights and stuff like that, but we managed to get through it. And when I'm not dual streaming, then I've been doing master mode chapters. So like Deck and Fee and you, among others, you're all right. It's a lot of fun to do. I definitely have died along the way. I'm on my geared out, most geared out character who's also a tank, still dying sometimes, even to like simple things like gold stars, like single gold stars. They just hit really hard sometimes, and it surprises you. It's like it takes me back. It was kind of nutty. And go ahead.
When you see like two of them, do you just go, oh crap?
Yeah, it's like here comes the cooldowns. Like, oh. Yeah. Even like if it's a single gold star, like even that, I'm usually having to do like a cooldown or two just to get through it. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm thinking like, gosh, if I was on my DPS character, I'd be really getting hit hard. And it'd be really nasty. I mean, the fights would go quicker because I'd be able to do more damage, but still, it's kind of crazy. Like, but I did get through all of them so far. I haven't had to call you in as backup or anything yet.
I'm here, baby. I'm here.
I've gotten through all the coffee ones, and in fact, I'm just about, the next one I'll do will be Chapter 1 of Kotet. So I've gotten all of them done. It's funny how like some fights that I was like in my brain, I was like looking ahead to them. It's like, oh, I'm really scared of this fight, and it turned out not to be so bad. And then other fights that I didn't even think about, like, completely kicked my butt. Right. Like, there's the one fight, like the Arkan fight at the very end of Kotet. It's like, that one was difficult. It was difficult, but it was doable. I think it was because it's so mechanically intensive. Like, if you get the mechanics right, you're kind of okay. I effed up a couple of times and died because I wasn't facing the right way, so I was taking extra damage and stuff like that. But I did get through it. Nice. And then there's go ahead.
Did you use the saber?
No, I was wondering if I was going to have to switch to that one. But it was like, gosh, if I pull all that out, and then do I want to also, move my like augment over and stuff like that? It's like, do I really want to go through with all of this?
Did you have any temper tantrums? Because when I did it, I threw a couple fits. Especially
sort of. Well, not exactly temper tantrums, but I was like really shocked, like how much damage I was taking. It's like, oh my god, like really, am I really dying to like this single gold star? Who like just, I guess they crit or something, and it's just like, and it just, my health goes away. It was crazy. And yeah, and then like some fights I hadn't even thought about, and you almost don't notice on story mode, are actually quite difficult. Like there's a couple of champions that are just sort of single champions along the way, and you don't really notice them too much on story mode. You can just kind of like wade through them. But yeah, and then it's like they just hit so hard. It's crazy. It was crazy. It was pretty fun. I was sort of in story mode. It's like a point of pride, like never to use heroic moment or anything like that. Yeah, for master mode, I'm definitely using heroic moment sometimes.
Damn right you are.
And of course you can't on some fights, because like the Arkan fight, there's no companion. You can't. Yeah. No unity and no heroic moment. But it was fun to do. So I am sort of looking forward to the other ones, except there's a lot of like, I'm kind of concerned about like all the walker parts of those chapters. I'm concerned like how hard they're going to be, because they can be tricky even in the story mode and in the veteran mode. So I don't know how nasty that's going to be in master mode. Yeah, I might need to.
I love running around under those walkers. It's
so
fun.
I remember that was really fun. It was really fun. And it's like you're having some luck with them, and then sometimes though the AOE would hit you, and you'd be insta-gibbed. Right. It was crazy.
The first chapter on Kotet shouldn't be that difficult. You're good at the walker in that part. The ones that I worry about is later on in the story.
Okay.
Because
non-walker fights,
so clunky.
Oh, the walker fight, the later walker fights.
It's just like
okay. Yeah, some of those are going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah. BioWare, if you're listening, please just turn off the cooldowns on the walkers. Because it'll be so fun if they just didn't. You're like sitting.
Yeah, they improved them, but they're still not always easy. So, and I noticed like there's an achievement for getting all the Kotvi chapters done on master mode, and you get a special bonus of 20 cartel coins.
What?
Yes.
What are you gonna do with
Not a title. I don't know. I'm gonna have to unlock so many things. 20 cartel coins for doing all the master mode, which is hilarious because like you get 20 cartel coins for like doing Hutta on a level 1 to 10 person for the first time on a particular server and stuff. So it's doing like master mode where you have to have a completely kitted out. You have to have a completely kitted out character at max level, and then you have to go through all the master mode points, and you still only get 20 cartel coins. It's like, Well, if I do that, 18 more times, I can get another character slot or something like that.
After Kotet, you'll get 35.
Oh, okay. I'm excited now. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking afterwards, it's like I saw the achievement go by, and then of course a bunch of other stuff went by, and I didn't really look at it. I just noticed it, and I thought, oh, maybe there's a title, and I wondered what the title would be. No, there's no title. It's just 20 cartel coins. It's still fun though. It's still worth doing just to have done it. And Kotet's coming up. It's gonna take. Yeah, some of those are gonna be hard, I think, but it'll be cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. It would be really cool if doing those on master mode and whatever medium mode, you could like unlock something in Legacy, like an extra speeder speed or something like that. That would be really cool. Yeah. Just to, I don't know. I want faster speeders.
Yeah. I always thought, I remember how like the very first time in the game that they upped the speeders, and we realized it wasn't going from like 100 to like 200, which if you've played like World of Warcraft was kind of like how they did. Like there's big chunks of speed gains in the different levels, and it was going from like 100 to 110 to 120. Right. It was like everyone was like, "Oh, we're only getting 10% more." Yeah, and now it's gone a couple. Like they've added more levels, but it's only 10% each time. We're up to you have to get. And it's like 1.8 million to unlock 4 and 5, and
it's expensive. Yeah.
It's expensive, and yet I mean, I still do it. I still do it too,
because I'm not going to be going at 4 when I could be going at 5.
Right, especially with the way you're doing it, where your character's like, you have a lot of story to go because you're doing if you're doing like everything on that character, that's a lot of traveling over the course of from Belsavis or wherever you end up actually dinging 75, and then to all the way through Onslaught and everything. That's a lot of mounting up, and it ends up being a lot of time, even if it doesn't feel very good all at once.
Although because I do all the content and I am traveling like that, I tend to I just don't care about that. I mean, I would love to have a faster speeder, but even when I'm running around, I don't use force skedaddle or, rocket boots all the time. I just kind of go at a real leisurely pace. And I found that I enjoy the game way more like that.
Meanwhile, I'm like using every utility point to gain like 5 seconds of 50% extra speed.
It's like the cartel coins, Chill. It's just a little bit, but it means so much.
It means so much, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll bring us to the tip of the week. We got a couple tips. I wrote down one that I kind of ran across when I was playing, and then we also got one from Sinwolf. I'll do mine first, I guess. This one's about legendary embers versus processed isotope stabilizers. These are two things that you can buy from the vendor on the fleet with your tech points. It's 3,000 for an ember, and it's only 25 because it's like an earlier thing. It's only 25 per isotope stabilizer. However, on the GTN, on a per tech point basis, embers go for under 200 per tech point, and isotope stabilizers go for about 800 per tech point. So you might think, well, I'll spend a big 3,000, sell it, and that'll be great. And it is great, but you'll actually gain like 3 to 4 times as much if you're actually buying the processed isotope stabilizers and selling those instead, because I even rechecked it right before the show, and the exact math was 183 per tech point for the embers and 720 credits per tech point for the isotope stabilizers. So it's about 4 times as much.
Interesting.
Yeah, so just a thought, if you're really hunting for credits and you have some tech points, you're getting those bings every time you get another tech point. It's giving you the warning that you're going to max out. Don't necessarily just plunk it all on the embers. Think about maybe getting some isotope stabilizers as well, because they actually sell pretty well.
Good.
And that was from me. The one from Sinwolf is we actually did this like on as a group, and he sort of was like the one who kind of figured this out for us, and it's been in the game, but like I had completely forgotten about it, and it seemed like most of the operation people had forgotten about it too. And it was, have you joined an ops group, but you can't seem to transfer to their instance. And you don't want to waste the guild summons just to swap the maps. So instead what you can do is right-click on the character who is where you want to go. Usually the group leader is a good choice. And in fact, I seem to think that you kind of have to choose a leader, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, if you right-click on the leader, look for the option to travel to their instance, and then you can actually go right to their leader. And that way everyone can be on the same instance, even if the game doesn't, put you in the same one. It kind of, the game's sort of like, it kind of tries to put everyone in the same instance if they're in an operations group, but sometimes, like when they'll group up, people will already be on the same planet but on different instances, or maybe someone's, doing PvP, instancing, and so they end up on different ones. And this is like, probably the easiest way to do it. And you don't, like I say, and like he says, you don't have to actually like spend the guild credits to do the guild travel thing. So
I didn't know this. This is that's great. Yeah. And he says here that using this also bypasses the map depopulation locks.
Right. So exactly, because a lot of times like it's like, okay, well, gosh, come to my instance, and then it's like it'll shade, so it's red. It's like, well, I can't because it's red. But this doesn't have anything to do with that. So you can go to it even if it's being depopulated, which is nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Sin. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because of the dueling that I've been doing and that we did before, we've also know how to do this with a group. With like if you're in a group of 2 people, not an operations group. That's an operation group with specific one. But what you can do is if you're in a regular group of like 2, 3, 4 people, what you can do then is you have to have an instance though. You can't do this from anywhere. But if you have like a character, any sort of instance will do. It can be one that's for the group, like a Flashpoint, or if you're doing your stories and you just happen to be running into the Bounty Hunter instance, for example, you go into that instance, and then when you right-click your own portrait, you can call in other people in your group into the story content. But you have to have an instance. You can't just be on the fleet. You can't just be kind of out running around. But if someone's in an instance, they can pull everyone else in, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, Sinwolf. You're the winner of a Tonfon or M8-3R droid or M2B9 droid code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided Cartel Market pack from the latest shipment, which of course is the ultimate pack. If you have a tip of the week, please send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show, and that'll give you a chance to win the same thing. All right, that'll bring us to the Mind Trap, and this was based on a suggestion you made a little bit ago, Kitty. And this is, but I sort of wrote out a little bit differently because I didn't want to make it like how long did it take in terms of like weeks, or because I didn't know how many people would even remember like how long it had taken them or whatever. And also depends on like how often people are playing, or do they do it all at once in like a gigantic. Anyway.
There's a lot of variables.
Yeah, so I decided to make it more about like how it felt. Like, did it feel about right? Or did it feel too long? Did it feel too short? So, how long did it feel to get your first SWTOR 75th level character to 306 gear? And so the answers were about right, too fast, too slow, or I don't have a character at 306. And no character at 306 actually won, which is interesting. So almost 40%, 39.1%, no character at 306. There was 307 votes, by the way. Which, makes sense. A lot of people that, they're preferred or whatever, and they're just not getting up to 75.
That's crazy. I didn't think that was even, I thought that would be last place. Because,
right.
I
know what you mean.
Because I do it, everybody's doing it.
Right, exactly. And as far as the other choices for people who had gotten to 306, About Right did win at 35.5% of the overall vote. Too Fast was the last place at only 6.5%. Too Slow at 18.9%. So I felt it was about right for me. We had some answers. Dekian, who repeated basically what he said almost overnight. Right. He said, Ducky and I ran Flashpoints to grind gear. We were 306 by the first Saturday afternoon after 6.0 dropped. It's very fast. Very fast.
Cool.
Yeah. Lauren also said, I did the Flashpoint spam, took me a week or so, and I wasn't even trying to rush really. One of my guildmates pushed really hard and hit 306 on day one. Zamzam said it felt too slow. It sucked to have to do content that is mind-numbingly boring that you don't normally do, Flashpoints, just to get gear. Thank goodness we only had to do it once. Yeah, and so that seemed to be a lot of people sort of along the same lines. For me, it felt about right, because I wasn't necessarily super grinding for it, but I did grind the Flashpoints, but I wasn't like trying to get it done like instantaneously. I think it took me, like once I was actually at level 75, I think it took me about a week, because I wasn't like doing nothing but that. I was doing other characters as well, and just having kind of, having fun doing that. So about right, one, too slow was kind of in second place, kind of ignoring the no character at 306, and too fast was 6.5%. That seems like actually a pretty reasonable
it does.
Spread. I mean, if you have most of the people thinking it's about right, some people thinking it's too slow, and only a few people thinking it's too fast, that's a pretty reasonable way to do it. You know what I mean? It's
really,
like,
really good.
Because like if like a ton of people thought it was too fast, well, that means that game devs would have wasted a lot of opportunity for people to, take time to gear up and so on, and it would have felt too fast for a lot of people. And if like everyone thought it was too slow, that would have been obviously a problem as well. Right. But pretty reasonable. So I was pretty happy with this one. I thought it was interesting, really, and you're and you were right though. I did not expect no character at 306 necessarily to take first place.
No,
I didn't necessarily think last place either, but yeah, 40% of the people, and this is people who engage with the show in some way on Twitter, and they're leveling or whatever. Maybe they just want to see the story and they're just not interested in the gear grind all the way up to 306.
I'm almost every week, or every time we do the Mind Trap, I'm almost always kind of blown away by one of the answers, like no character at 306. That's a huge number of people that are don't even have a character at 306.
Right. Well, Arjar in chat has said 16 months and I still have 0 characters at 306.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Arjar!
I know Arjar is on the game for sure. So
I think it felt...
And 24.
I thought it felt pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are going to be people that are going to, cram like
Deck did. Yeah.
But I did too. I crammed. But I kind of took my time. We just ran... Hammer Station over and over and over and over, and I was kind of confused, like how it worked, what was the things, blah blah blah. So, and then I started saving them, thinking that I'm going to need different sets for different characters, and then I do like the fact that you don't have to do it more than once. Just having everything legacy bound, great. Great.
It is nice. Yeah, I have like a couple of legacy, banks that are kind of filled with 306 gear just for whoever happens to ding. Yeah. I think what I could probably get away with is just like only focusing on like it's usually the Victor set, because Victor is a very nice sort of solo set that you can just kind of use for everything. Just focus on that, and then getting the other bits, the relics and implants and all that. But yeah, although I have like other stuff, I have like other sets just for fun, even though I don't really use them. But it's cool.
Yeah, I've been building gift giving sets.
Mm-hmm.
That I have my slicing set, my node getter set. So I've been kind of having fun with it. It's good stuff.
Right. All right, that'll bring us to the holo feed then, and it's been an unusual kind of couple of weeks for them as well. The snow that we saw also then went on and hit all the way down in Texas where they are. Texas had a lot of problems with their power systems, and because of that, Austin, where BioWare was out of power for days at a time. No heat. Like people are having problems with water, with heat, with electricity, with internet, with cell service, with like everything. It was getting nuts down there.
I saw some interesting pictures of one day and then the next day. One
Mm-hmm.
day was icicles hanging off of the gutters and snow everywhere, and the next day it's just like nothing.
Right, because then it
So
as soon as it passed, it got like back up to the 70s, which is really so it melted really fast. So because of that, there was going to be update 6.2.1 was already supposed to have dropped by the time of this show, and it has been put off. And I double checked just to make sure, because actually I don't know about the Steam version, but I have like the old style version of the launcher, and it says 6.2.1. But it's not actually 6.2.1 yet, and I even double checked. Like I went into the game and like, okay, are the amplifier changes there, or is anything there that's like showing that it's actually dropped? But no, it is not dropped yet.
I didn't even know that this got postponed, so I'm like going through everything, going, "Oh, I don't know what they did. This just doesn't seem
doesn't
and then
seem
I'm
any
like,
different."
Oh, I can't wait to do some of the runs and stuff, and then someone's like, "Hey, dum dum, it didn't drop." And I'm like, oh, well, that's why it's so poorly done.
Right. And at this point, they have power back, and things are sort of coming back to normal, but it's not, as they were saying on the forums, it's not happening all at once. It's not like, the weather gets warmer and then boom, everything's 100% back to normal and everything, and they can just immediately get back to where everything was. So it seems like, it's likely going to happen pretty soon, but they're being a little cagey about exactly when it's going to happen and exactly what other sort of changes are going to happen. We'll talk a little bit about events and stuff like that. We can talk about what 6.2.1, some of the changes that are planned for it. A lot of it is going to be, one of the main things that's going to change is amplifier changes. So there's going to be like a new level. They're going to spread out the levels and add a white level at the bottom. So it's white, green, blue, purple, and then the gold ones at the very high end. No changes into what the actual numbers are. It's not like the white ones are worse than ones before. They're just going to take them and just spread them out a little bit more. They're also going to change the user interface for them, so hopefully it will look a little bit nicer, and it'll be a little more easy to find things. When you look at the amplifiers, you'll be able to see like which armor piece that it's in. So if you want to recalibrate it, you can easily get to it. They're also going to be doing like a locking thing. So when it's going to be kind of expensive, but if you do like a redo on your amplifier and then one of them's gold and then you accept it, but it's not really the one you want, you can actually lock it for a couple 100,000 credits. It looks like it's going to be kind of pricey.
Very, yeah.
But then if any more updates you do are gonna be only from the gold level, or if you locked it earlier, it'd be like purple or above or whatever, which is kind of cool. I think that's pretty slick. And
people that have the money, that's a great credit sink.
When I'm looking to redo the amplifiers, it's like it costs multiple millions anyway. So locking, if I happen to get a gold one and it's the wrong one, but I can lock it for a few 100,000 credits, it's like, yeah, that's expensive, but probably would have spent at least that much anyway just trying to get the one I want. And I'd rather do it off of a table of about 10 instead of the table of 70 or something that you can get usually.
And you're not wasting time. You're kind of getting right to the point.
Yeah, that's true too. Also, there's going to be another change that will help save credits, actually, which is going to be the weekly cost reset. So with the weekly cost reset, the recalibration cost will be reset to its starting cost each Tuesday, because the cost goes up by up to 100 rerolls. I don't know exactly what number that is on a 306, but it's more than 60,000, because I've done up to like 60,000 or so, and then I kind of give up. I usually try to go for a different armoring or whatever. If it's getting that bad and I haven't found the one I've wanted yet, I just throw it out and I go to another one. But now, you don't have to throw it out. You can just wait for the weekly reset and then you start over again, which is going to be really nice as well.
I've been literally waiting to loot it, whatever one I want, and that seems. I mean, it's taken a long time, but I have some great sets. And I had, I didn't have to do that, the recalibrate.
Right, recalibrate. Oh my god, so expensive. Like even if you say, okay, I'm not going to go over 30,000 for a reroll or whatever, it's like crazy expensive. Yeah, so this was supposed to be February 16th originally. But that's a week's gone by, and the snow has kept that from happening. There's some changes going to be for Uprisings. They've been rebalanced for level 75, which is kind of cool. There's not a ton of other changes for them. It doesn't look like, but to me that's kind of nice that there'll be more things that are actually at level 75, because it feels like an awful lot of the game is set for 70 and below. Like even the operations, unless you're doing the hard mode or nightmare operations, like the story mode is not 75. So it feels like you're being ranked down quite a bit, when you're doing stuff. So I'm pretty.
And they're quick. That's what I'm actually. This is what I'm most excited about. This and another thing that they're adding a calibration on, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really, really looking forward to running Uprisings again. Get a little group together, jump in.
Yeah, they're being upped slightly in their difficulty. They're being upped slightly in the amount of time they take, but they're also going to increase the loot, which is kind of cool too.
Great.
In some ways, that it kind of brings it a little closer to Flashpoints, because like the idea originally was like Uprisings were like Flashpoints, only much shorter. Well, this is kind of bring them a little closer to Flashpoints. But hey, there's some really cool Uprisings out there with like interesting mechanics and stuff. And if you're only doing Flashpoints and not seeing the Uprisings, you're missing out on some kind of interesting stuff. Some of them are like completely unique to the game. Like you won't see the mechanics that are in there like anywhere else in a couple cases. So, and then we've already kind of gone over the amplifiers. We're kind of going over the patch notes that are coming up. There's going to be a camera shake slider to allow players to reduce or turn off the camera shake in the game. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
That's the one I was talking about. When I saw that, I was like, I gotta talk to Chill. I gotta get Chill.
We were actually getting like physically nauseated by that one like crazy overshake in that. It was the Spirit of Vengeance, like the Mandalorian Flashpoint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
No, it was
or was it?
Was it Onslaught?
Was it Onslaught?
Mechshaw.
Oh, from the Mechshaw bit? Well, that too, yeah. That's right. It happened there too. Yeah, it was like really nasty.
Such wussies.
And you can turn it off, but they did note that if you turn it all the way off, you will not experience missile impact during space combat. So there are reasons where you might want to try it at like a low setting as opposed to turning it off. But I will definitely be checking out that setting for sure.
Oh yeah.
The game's intro movies and logos have been updated, so that the auto skip movie setting has been reset so everyone can see them at least once. The option still exists to skip these after the first login post patch. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how different that is. Like, sometimes
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do too. And then, like little things like that, it's like sometimes it's like we won't even notice. Maybe it's like won't feel like a big deal. But I'll bet you this one is going to be kind of cool. Let's see. There's a bunch of like emote bug fixes. Some of them were either they were looping or not looping at the wrong time or whatever, or there were certain like unlock problems, stuff like that. Let's see, and it's like quite a bit of bug fixing. There's just some like there's some packs that were dropping incorrect things that they fixed that, stuff like that. It's like a lot of little bug fixing that's not too worried about. They could go in more about the amplifiers. Remove the knockoff protection mention from the tooltip of the following mounts as there is no longer knockoff protection in the game. So what? Interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to. I think I did hear something about that. How they level it out so it's like all the same level of knockoff protection. But I didn't realize. Okay. I didn't realize that there was still going to be a mention of it anywhere.
Didn't they have it set up for light, medium, and heavy armor, that's where they kind of set the knockoff ability.
I don't know.
I think that's how it was back in the day.
Once upon a time, like there was like the very first Podracer mount, the red one. I remember that one like specifically said, you know, has exceptionally good protection against knockoffs. You know, this is like when you're just running around the world and you happen to aggro something and they shoot at you.
Right.
And whether they knock you off or not. And I think they've sort of leveled that out, essentially, is what it sounds like to me. But yeah, and nowadays it's just kind of like, apparently it's just like all the same.
It must have been coincidence, because I always noticed that I was a Jug for a long time, and I felt like she never got knocked off of her mounts.
I'd have to test this a little bit more, but something that like almost feels like a tip of the week to me is like, if you happen to be a tank, you'll get knocked off less, or if you have a shield on, like if you're a sage or a sorcerer and you put your shield on before you mount up and you still are shielded when someone hits you. I've never been knocked off when I had a shield up. I think they have to actually do damage to you to be knocked off. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe someone can contradict me, but I think that's how it works. And I have noticed for sure, like I don't get knocked off very much on my tank, because I think what's happening is I'm deflecting these abilities, and when they get deflected, they just don't have the same knockoff potential.
Right.
Yeah.
Duck Sauce says back in the day it was light, medium, and heavy, but nowadays they're all adaptive.
They're just adaptive. Yeah. 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 All right. Let's see. Was there any?
Getting knocked off.
Yeah.
I take it so personally.
There was like some armor sets that were giving a metallic armor noise when you're jumping, running, or falling down that shouldn't have. So they're changing that. Winter Outlaw. I just thought that was interesting. Lab Technician and Jedi Knight Revan's armor set. So apparently, like if you were in the Jedi Knight Revan's armor set, you were running around making like clank, clank, clank noises.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. And then there's a fair bit of like small changes to the classes. Not huge ones, but for example, Sage. When a Jedi Sage uses the Force Barrier ability, will now correctly dispel poison and bleed effects instead of only bleed effects.
Yay!
Yay! There in Shan. Will no longer rise from the dead to complain in Things Left Unsaid if a romance had been started with Chem Vol. I love random.
Yes!
I love random bugs like that.
I do too. And sometimes those bugs just kind of coincidentally fall into making sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I always thought that was weird that they say that, and then like, they didn't mean to say that at all.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There's several tacticals that are like along the dot specs that have gotten bug fixes, which is pretty cool. For example, the Dirty Fighting tactical or the Virulence tactical for the Ultraviolet Blast tactical will properly benefit from damage amplifiers like Periodic Intensity, Tech Wizardry, or talents like Devouring Microbes, which is pretty cool. So you might notice a small difference there if you happen to be using that tactical. Similarly, the Scoundrel version of sort of the same type of spec, the dot spec, the Catalyzed Toxins tactical effect will now properly benefit from Cut to the Quick talents and any dot damage amplifiers. So yeah, so little things like that. There wasn't a ton. And then there's some bug fixes for flashpoints. Some of them are like, a lot of them are actually, it seems like enemies pushed off ledges will now die as intended, which is kind of cool. I always appreciate that, because I like pushing the enemies off the cliffs, but it's always disappointing because half the time they just sit around down there like looking up at you.
Right, and you're waiting and waiting,
waiting for them to leash back or bug out or something. Yeah.
Good. In particular, Hammer Station, I know exactly where they're talking about. There's two different spots that it could be. It could be the light bridge,
mm-hmm.
or it could be the end boss fight, because those guys
have
bugged out before. And
ooh, that's no good. Yeah, that's nasty. If like you think you've killed them and then they just kind of like teleport back up after not dying. Yeah.
Leave the instance and there's nothing there.
Yep.
I remember having to stuck it just to get out of that instance or that flashpoint This was a long time ago, but
yeah,
good.
Ton of bug fixes for Spirit of Vengeance Flashpoint, the newest one. You know, everything from just little voice things to bosses not targeting dead players for certain abilities, stuff like that. But just tons of little bug fixes on that because it's the most recent
Female
one.
novel and dancer NPC will no longer have a male voice.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that I like. Hey there, sexy.
Yeah, and then a lot of other little bug fixes too. So hopefully this will be coming out pretty soon. We just don't know exactly when because of the weather thing.
And take your time, everybody down there in Austin.
Right. This is also going to be the one, we've talked about this briefly on the show before about Conquests, where if you're new to a guild, new guild members no longer earn guild conquest points until the reset to the next conquest. Also, if a player is removed from a guild, their contributions will be removed from the guild. So if the guild leader removes a player from the guild, they're also removing the conquest points that character had. However, if someone leaves voluntarily, the guild is not penalized. So it depends on who's doing the leaving. If they're leaving voluntarily, the conquest points stay for that character. If they're being booted out, then by the guild leaders, then the conquest points go away as well. And that's because apparently there have been some guilds that have been like inviting people, having the new players do conquest stuff, and then booting them out.
Bastards.
Yeah, exactly. So that will no longer work for them anymore. At least not quite the same way. And then and they're changing around some of the crafting and so on, so that they're more they're not like infinitely repeatable for the most part. A lot of them are going to be daily. They'll be worth a little bit more points, but they're going to be more along the lines of a daily. Let's see, and then so we don't know exactly when 6.2.1 will drop yet. At least as of the recording of the show, it could happen like very soon afterwards, but we'll see. Jacki Co did check in the forums. She said, wanted to check in on a personal level, let you know we're still recovering from the Texas ice storms. This is from just yesterday that hit us last week, but we're working to become fully operational. Many of us were without power, water, gas, internet, etc. for the majority of the week, and we appreciate everyone who has sent us positive and uplifting messages. We'll have game-focused updates soon, so please keep an eye on all our official channels as usual, and we thank you for continued patience as we continue to recuperate and bounce back from last week's crisis.
Thank you, Jacki Co. I like Jacki Co.
Yeah. She's been a really good addition to the community team, I believe.
I like that she doesn't take crap.
Yeah, that's true, too. She's been very upfront about that. It's like, please, no negative messaging and blah, blah, blah. Yep. Because of the Polar Vortex event, the bounty contract week has been not deployed, essentially. Because 6.2.1 was not deployed as scheduled, that the Conquest is Relics of the Gree event instead of the bounty contract week 1. The Conquest and event schedule will return to a normal rotation next week, which is kind of skipping over the bounty contract week. For those who are looking for bounty contract week, we are exploring adjusting the schedule to account for the fact that it was missed this week, and then keep an eye on the in-game event page for any updates. So they're not sure exactly when the bounty when the bounty contract week is going to come back, but basically because of this whole the whole issue with getting 6.2.1 out, it's just not going to happen this time around, and they're going to try to. It sounds like they're going to try to bump it up and make it happen earlier. There was a couple of little messages on the forums about there was some sort of server connectivity issue today earlier. It seems to have been resolved, and not a ton of details about what it involved, but the two forum messages about it were about an hour apart. So apparently the problem was resolved reasonably quickly, and apparently didn't last too long. But it's something to be cognizant of. So that might be part of them, sort of still recovering in some way.
Yeah, that's what I'd assume.
Yeah.
At least you know it's not on your end. Knowing where it's coming from is a lot of weight off your shoulders when you're trying to figure that stuff out.
Right. And then we've got the force feedback, and Duck Sauce has a couple of interviews. However, there's been some news about that. One of them is now happened, actually. It is David Hayter, and he did the male Jedi Knight. He's also Solid Snake in Metal Gear franchise, as well as being a writer behind the X-Men, which is really cool. This is now on his Twitch and YouTube channels. You can either go to Duck Sauce's Twitch channel if you follow him there, and you can see it in the past episodes. Sort of look for the past videos part of his Twitch page, but it's also up on his YouTube channel. And he decided to cancel the other interview. Unfortunately, Spencer Garrett did Revan Reborn in SWTOR and appearances in 24 and other shows, but he's apparently had a difficulty, and I don't want to. He gave me a couple of details, but it's off screen or off. It wasn't made clear to me whether I was supposed to make it public or not, so I'm not going to talk about it. But there was an issue, and he decided it would be best not to do the interview. So unfortunately, he's not going to get the second interview. But it was fun to listen to David Hayter. And it's fun, especially like sometimes that you can kind of hear the male Jedi Knight in his voice, because it's reasonably close to his actual voice, and so it's pretty cool. And Duck Sauce said, in terms of the David Hayter interview, he would prefer people go to the YouTube channel because he did have some problems with the audio engineering on the VOD on the Twitch channel, but apparently it sounds better on so it's better on the YouTube channel, which is good to know, because I actually did listen to it on the Twitch channel, and it was there was a little echo. I was still able to hear it, but it was a little echoey. So it's good to know that the YouTube channel was clearer then. I really like that. So so there we go. Is there anything else, Kitty?
I don't think so. I think you covered it great, John.
All right. Then that's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room.
Thank you, chat.
All right, and we'll see you next show.
Toodles, everybody.
All right, here we go. Stopping the stream. Stopping.